First thing we want to do, James, is draw the triangle. A, B, C. Now again, we just want to assume it's a acute. It could be an obtuse one. We don't really know. We don't really have enough information. But I always just like to always start with the acute. All right. So now we need to figure out to find an angle. So should we just randomly pick an angle? Or does anybody maybe have an idea that we can maybe optimize, like make this kind of a good idea? Should we just pick one? Anybody have a favorite angle they want to find? A. A is good because A is the formula. It's on your formula sheet, right? So therefore, you won't have to change any formulas. So A kind of sounds like a pretty good idea. B is good. B is like the middle, right? So some students like doing the middle and B. C, that's like always the favorite multiple choice question answer, right? So C, that sounds good. Anybody else have any other ideas? There actually is an answer to this that actually is going to help us with solving this triangle. Well, let's put it to you this way. Guys, if I have the reason why the acute, the reason why the, remember the law of sines. The law of sines, this ambiguous case worked is when we have an acute angle, we always had to test the obtuse angle. Right? So we had to be careful. If we were given an angle, we always had to subtract from 180 to get to this angle. Yes? Because we didn't know, is the angle this one, or is it obtuse, or is it acute? Right? So we always had to do that. However, if we're already given the obtuse angle, we don't need to worry about going back to find the acute. We already have the obtuse angle. So we don't need to check the acute. So we're good to go. We already have an obtuse triangle. Because here's my point. So, or put it this way. If I already have an obtuse angle, let's pretend right here. Let's pretend this angle is obtuse. Let's say it's 100 degrees. Do we even care if this is an acute or an obtuse angle? No, because this is already, or this one, doesn't really matter. If this is already obtuse, guys, we already have an obtuse angle. We can't have more than one obtuse angles, correct? So once you already have an obtuse angle, then you don't need to check if there's another obtuse angle happens. So which angle out of these would be an obtuse angle if it were possible that they were obtuse? C, right? If C, because the largest side has to be the largest angle. Now again, I just drew an acute triangle up here, but we could draw like this is an obtuse triangle if we wanted to. We could draw it looking like this. Because we really don't know what these values look like. We really don't know what this triangle looks like. So let's maybe draw it like that. Because if there's any triangle that's going to be obtuse, it's going to be C. And that would be nice, because if it is obtuse, we could use the law of sines and not have to worry about the ambiguous case. Because remember, the ambiguous case makes us check for an obtuse angle. So if we already have an obtuse angle, there's no need to check. All right, so let's go ahead and solve for C. So by using my formula manipulation, I can say cosine of C equals b squared plus a squared minus c squared all over 2 times a times b. I'll write it that way. Now, in this way, I'll show you guys how to enter this all at once. So if you are going to decide to type in everything all at once rather than do it individually, which is my preferred method, is typing it individually, that's fine. Just make sure you're very careful with your parentheses. So here's how I type it in. I would type in cosine inverse. So I'd say second cosine. Now we want to put the numerator in parentheses. So I'd type it in as b squared, which is 5 squared, plus a squared, which is 4 squared, minus c squared. So I'd put that all in parentheses. So I got to create a new parenthesis. And I'm going to do 5 squared plus 4 squared minus 8 squared. Close the parentheses. Divided by. Now I got to put the denominator all in parentheses as well. Yes? Thank you. Put my denominator, which is 2 times A times B in parentheses as well. Now, you don't need to put parentheses around the 4 and the 5. You could just write 2 times 4 times 5. But it is very important that you put it in parentheses. And then I close the parentheses of the denominator, and then I close the parentheses on the inverse cosine. OK? So you can do it all at once. I don't really think it's that much faster just to do it step by step. And in my opinion, you avoid a lot more mistakes doing it step by step than typing it all at once. Because all you got to do is miss like one parenthesis, or like what I did, miss the squared, and you got it all wrong. So anyways, I get C is equal to 125.099. Now I'm just going to leave my answers as truncated, not rounding it. And hey, look at this. It's 125. It's my obtuse triangle. So now, this is nice because now, guys, I don't have to worry about the ambiguous case. I already have an obtuse angle. I don't need to. I can use the law of sines and not have to check to see if there's another obtuse angle. So my triangle doesn't look like this. It actually looks like this. Now, I will store this because I know I'm going to need it. So I'm going to hit store. And then I'm going to do store alpha C. OK? So now I can use my law of sines. So I have C. So it's right there. So now I can use the law of sines. Does it really matter if I want to go for A or B? No. Anybody have a care? Let's find a sine of A. So I'll do sine of A, which I don't know, over A, which is 4, is equal to sine of C, which is stored in my calculator, over C, which is 8. And therefore, to find sine of A, what am I doing? I don't know. So therefore, A equals sine inverse. Multiply the 4 on both sides of sine of C stored divided by 8. And here it doesn't matter, guys, if you're doing, it doesn't matter the order that you're multiplication and division. It doesn't matter like 2 times 3 or 3 times 2, right? It doesn't matter, so you can just write them all at once. So I'll just do sine inverse. Sine inverse. And I'll do 4 times the sine of alpha C. Oh, what the heck is that? It's T. Now, make sure when you have sine inverse of 4 times sine inverse. Now, make sure when you guys are typing in sine inverse, or you're typing in C, make sure you close that parenthesis divided by 8. What the heck? All right, I have no idea. I'm going to slow this down. Sine inverse of 4 times the sine of C, close the parenthesis, divided by 8. There you go. Therefore, A, and we're going to want to store that, is 24.146 truncated.
So if you truncate one, you have to truncate all.
Well, I mean, you want to be consistent, right?
If you want to wait.
Truncated just means not rounding it. You're just leaving it to the 3 decimal places. And then now, can we solve for B? B is basically, guys, 180 degrees minus stored A minus stored C. So I'll just do 180 minus alpha A, which I stored, minus alpha C, which I stored. And I get 45.069. Huh? I don't know. Probably not. Was this what C was up here? That's C, right? Yeah.
So that's A.
store alpha A. So you can always check to make sure your alphas are stored. So you can hit alpha A, and then you can hit alpha C. That's A and C, right? OK, so let's do it again. 180 minus alpha A minus alpha C. 30.75? Good catch. 30.753, right? 753. Now, before I'd even wrap up this problem, I didn't even have time to reflect before a student found that I didn't store it. But again, we still want to check our answers, right? First of all, we just found all three angles. Does all three angles add up to 180? I mean, roughly, it should be very close, right? Any rounding errors or something like that. Do they all add up to 180? Yes, OK? And obviously, my last answer, that wouldn't have worked, so I would have realized, oh, did I forget to do something? And then also, does the hinge theorem work? Does the largest angle have the largest side, smallest angle have the smallest side? Yeah, so we can say be pretty confident that we did everything correctly that we wanted. OK? All right. Anybody have any questions on our new law of cosines? Again, do